Yeah, I'm back. So, when people come out to tell their stories, please don't be in the habit of castigating them or trying to blame them or make them feel less of a human, because no sane person will want to make mistakes and bring it online. Everybody talking about their story. Most people I hear or I see tell their story, they tell them because they want people to learn, and they feel like I need to unbutton, I need to just take this out of my chest. Because to tell you the truth, if you have a problem and you don't have anybody to share it with, it makes you go gaga. So when you have an audience to talk to, it heals part of it heals part of your pain. So when people come out to talk, please, 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 don't be that person that will say, "Oh, why did you do this? You are so stupid. You are so dumb." Nobody is stupid. Nobody's dumb. When things happen to people, it happens for a reason. It's either it happened for you to learn, or it happened for you to teach others, or it happened because God wants it to happen. So today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my sufferings in the past, and I want that to relate to anybody who is in those shoes right now. When things happen to you, you are not supposed to just go down with it. That's what kept me alive. I am not ashamed to say that I have restarted my life, I mean, from zero, ground zero in America, more than 10 times. Something will happen and shatter me, and I'll be almost homeless or have nothing, and then I'll start building everything again. I've done that more than 10 times. And I'm telling you about this because I have gotten out of that. But if I had succumbed to most of the temptations that came with my struggles in those days, I wouldn't be here talking. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even have the strength to talk. I won't even have the boldness to talk or to tell my story. So those days, the first time was when my children were like, they were just like a year, less than a year old. I had given birth to them in that one room that I rented from a Chinese man. So when I came back from the hospital with my children, the Chinese man said, "You cannot stay in one room with two children. So please go find a place to stay." And he didn't say that in anger, but I think somebody pushed him. Something must have threatened him. Somebody must have threatened him. You know what I'm talking about. Because this man just woke up one morning and said, "Oh, Dolothy," because that's how he pronounces my name. "Dolothy, please, I want you to find another place because I can't put you in one room with two babies. Because somebody said I can go to jail for it." I'm like, wow. So at that point, I was almost going to be homeless because the man gave me like 2 weeks to find a place. He wasn't angry with me, but I'm sure the poor man was threatened, or was somebody spoke to him, because the whole of my battle started in that room. So I don't know who talked to him among the people I was battling with. You know who. So this man asked me to leave. Mind you, when I had these babies, I wasn't working. I was not working. I was just living by the grace of God. I was in a church at that point that supported me. So, and when people are supporting you financially, you become a slave to them. You become uh, you have to dance to their tune. Whatever they say, you do, whether good or bad. So this church was helping me, and I didn't know how to ask them for more. So what I did was I went out in search of a place to stay, and God so kind, somebody came forth for me because I didn't even have the credit to rent a place there. So this person came through for me, and I rented a two-bedroom apartment. Yes, two-bedroom. Two-bedroom apartment. This is somebody who had no money. But you know why I rented those two bedrooms? I'll tell you. I rented them because I had plans. I had plans of what to do with one of the rooms. So I and my children occupied one room, and then the other room, I just made it look like um, a play place. Like I put cots. Like I think it fitted two cots. And then I had two swings. I had a small table, plastic table for children. I had three chairs surrounding it. And then I bought toys. I went to the store because when I had my baby, they brought me a lot of money. People were always giving me money. So I survived by, you know, people blessing my children. So I took some money and I went to the store. I bought toys, nice toys for children to play with. And I started telling people that I could babysit their children. Guys, that was how I started. I was doing this babysitting. My babies were like a year. I told you that when they were little, I went back to work when they were 7 days old. I went back to braid. But the braiders, one of the customers asked me to stop because I brought 7 days old babies, put them on the floor, and I was braiding. And she said, "No, you can't do this. Please go home." And because of that, I couldn't go back to that braiding store. I was like telling people to come to my place to braid, but then I wasn't really getting enough people. So the next thing was what I already know. I've been a child care provider for life since I was 18. I started caring for children, Apart from caring for my own siblings, when I turned 18 and left high school, I didn't have any. I was trying jam. So in the moment, I started taking children from my street to the church building to teach them. And I did that for almost a year because jam did not favor me. I did the first jam. I got the scores. I was going to read law. I got the scores. The scores were perfect. That time you go to Ikoyi, and you go to check your scores on the board. I went there. I saw my name. I came home. My parents celebrated. Everybody was happy. We jubilated. Everybody was, "Oh yeah, we know you're going to be a lawyer. Yeah, we know that's what you want to do. That's what you can do." And boom, I went back like 2 days later. My name was off that list because somebody who had money saw my score and bought it. Yeah. And I'm sure that child who went to school instead of me will suffer it because that's not right. Though it might not be, the child did not know what the parent did, but that's still not right. So somebody bought my result. And because my father doesn't like to bribe, he doesn't believe in bribery. People were saying, "Daddy, go to the JAMB office, give somebody some money." My father said, "No." So I had to repeat JAMB again. So in the meantime, I started taking care of children. So I have done this all my life. I did it all my life, and I'm still doing it. So I opened that mini childcare in my house, and God helped me. I had about 6 people who were bringing their children for me on daily basis, and I was so good. I'm not praising myself, but that's who I am. I was so good with this work that people were talking about it. Everybody was now, once a child leaves, the parents will talk to another person and they will replace them. So I kept doing this. And from this 2 bedroom apartment, and did I tell you that the church mocked me when I rented 2 bedrooms? The pastor told me to my face that, "Look, you went to rent 2 bedrooms. We are still feeding you, and you went to get 2 bedrooms. You are on your own. We're not giving you anything. We're not going to help you." And because of that, the church kind of withdrew. So I was battling my thing. And I did that for a while. And boom, something happened. I lost that apartment. And I had to start from afresh. I did not give up. I did not say, "Oh, let me go and find a man to sleep with me to give me money." Though men were trolling me. Men were trolling me, coming after me from every corner. But God gave me that special grace of always saying no. Apart from the idiot who raped me, men were coming, but I said no. And I kept to myself. And I guess maybe that's why God took care of me. Sometimes it's not all about your brain, it's about the favor of God, it's about how God sees you as a person, as a child. So I started from that child care. I lost that apartment. I lost it because I was being tortured by this man, by my father, my children's father. He wasn't paying child support. He wasn't doing anything because my hope was that, okay, with this I'll still be getting child support, but he wasn't doing anything. So I was in this thing for some time, and then suddenly his threats and all kinds of things was too much. I had to close that daycare and I had to go to Kansas. Though I went to Kansas through the school I was teaching, because I told you I took 2 years off from that school when I got had my babies. So when I saw what was going on, I had to go back to work with the school. And when I got there, my director decided to file my immigration papers for me. So I had a little bit of stand then. So, but this whole thing became too much, and I had to go to Kansas. And my director transferred me to the school, their branch in Kansas. It wasn't easy. I went to Kansas with nothing. Let me tell you the story of when I was going to Kansas. The week I was supposed to go, or 2 weeks to the time I was supposed to go, I called a sister in the church. I said, I'm leaving. I want to sell everything in my house. And guys, wherever I live, I take care of my things. I take care of my things. I always make sure everything is nice. So I called this lady. I said, I want to sell everything in my apartment. Come and look and see what you want. This lady came and picked everything. Don't sell to anybody. I'm going to buy everything. I'll buy your furniture. I'll buy your kitchen utensils. I'll buy everything. And I was so happy. And we all agreed on 5,000. I think 5,000. No, I'm sure 5,005. That was in 2006. Yes, 2006. Yeah, 2006 stroke 7, because I left at the end of 2006. So I would say 2006 stroke 2007. So I left, I called her, and she said she was going to buy everything. And the week I was supposed to leave, I called her, I said, I have 5 days to stay. Are you coming to bring the money for the things you want to buy? She said, oh, I'm coming. And this lady did not come until the night. I literally had to beg her that night. I called her in the morning and she wasn't picking. So in the evening, I called back and I was so upset because I was going to Kansas with a flight, and my flight was at around 7 o'clock. I needed to leave my house at least around 3 a.m. So I called this woman that night. Luckily, she picked up. Oh, sister, I'm coming. She came with a big truck. She came with a very big truck, and she came with some men, and they all went through my apartment and packed everything. Guys, my children were struggling with them. Mommy, they're taking our chairs. Mommy, they're taking our bed. Mommy. And I said, don't worry. So when these people packed everything, I mean, my apartment became empty. They packed everything. Nothing was left, not even trash. They packed everything. And this woman gave me an envelope. She might be watching me. And if you're watching me, I want you to get in touch with me because you still owe me. You still owe me. So this woman gave me an envelope, asked me how much was in the envelope. Guys, ask me. 5,005. She gave me about, I think what she gave me was 2,000. Yeah, 2,000. And I dropped the envelope, just talking with her. But something said, open that envelope and see what's inside. And I opened it, and behold, it was only 2,000. I said, sister, what is this? He said, that's how much I have. When you go to Kansas, just leave me your address. I'll send you the rest. And when she left, I was so upset. I just pulled my babies. In those days, or even up to now, my babies are always my shield. So I pulled them together because they were already crying because of the things that left the apartment. I pulled them together and I cried my eyes out. So what is this? What am I going to do with 2,000? Even if I'm going through my job, I still have to at least work for 2 weeks before I can be paid. So what will I do with this? And my plan was, okay, if she pays me my 5,500, I will go there. I will be able to go get furniture and get little things to stay in the apartment. There was no bed, nothing, because I paid for my Kansas apartment right from here. I went online, searched for apartment, did everything, made my first payment. So I was only supposed to go there and get my keys and go in. So this lady never paid me. She didn't pay me. I got back to Kansas. I called her back. She insulted me over the phone. and she never paid me till now. So going to Kansas was like starting afresh. You know what? I started afresh again. The next day, I heard about this company that you can, Aaron's, you can go get furniture from them and pay over the time. The next day, I couldn't stand my children sleeping on the floor. I couldn't just stand it because I went to get airbed and they didn't even like it. And the airbed we got was deflated. So I had to go return it the next day. So that night is like we just slept on the, we didn't even have a place to stay. So, I mean, a place to lay. So the next day, I went to Aaron's. They ran a credit check and they gave me furniture. So I got my living room furniture, I got my dining furniture, and I got beds all in one day. And I made payments. Yes, I made payments every month. And after about, I think I did 24, no, I did 18 months. After 18 months, I had paid for everything. So I was now settled in Kansas, beautiful apartment, beds and things for my kids. And boom, one day, I was just in the classroom teaching. And my director came through the door with two men. And I saw my children standing with them outside because my kids were not in my class then. They were in my class when they were 3. But once they turned 4, they went to kindergarten. So they were not in the preschool class with me anymore. So she was standing at the door and she said, Miss Dorothy, I'm sorry. We had to let you go. I said, why? He said, your immigration paper came back because the overall head of this school refused to sign it. So, because they said it's not their policy to file for their workers. So, I'm sorry, you have to go. Ooh, Yoruba say, Oroburuku Beluerin, or how do they even say it? Correct me if I'm wrong. They said bad things, they make person laugh. So, I took my children, put them in the car. I was driving and crying. Almost getting to my house, my director called. Miss Dorothy, are you okay? I said, yes, I'm fine. Because that woman loved me. She loved me. Are you all right? I said, fine. First of all, when I got to that school in Lapati, sorry, I've said the name of the school. When I got to that place in Kansas, the first battle that I faced was discrimination by parents because that was all white school. I and my children alone were the blacks, the only blacks in that school. And I can show you pictures to prove this. So the first thing that happened was parents withdrew their children from my class because I'm a black person and I don't have the uh, I have an accent, so they didn't want their children to be in my class. So they withdrew their children to I think preschool had like 3 rooms, so we had 3 classrooms for preschool. So they moved them, shuffled them around other rooms, and few, like about 6 parents, still kept their children in my class. And this happened for like few months. And you know what happened? All those parents requested to be in my class, requested to put their children in my class. And they all came back to my class because I have a style of doing this thing. It's something I brought from heaven. So there is no age. I'm not even bragging here, but I'm telling you how it is. This is a job that I can close my eyes and do. I can be with 30, 40 children at the same time and be able to work with them like I'm working with them one on one because it's a gift that God gave me. So, because of the way I handled the class, those parents came back. And I was even teaching these children African folks, telling them folk songs, folk stories, folk tales, and singing songs. And one of the songs I can't forget is Ye pa olodo, ye pa ye kawere olodo. That song, I used to sing it like if I ask a child something and the child doesn't say, ye pa. So before the end of the term, the children knew the song. So when somebody doesn't know anything, they will just sing the song. And I don't want to even see how they sang it. You imagine white children singing that song. They murdered the song, but the song still felt good. They loved it. So I was so close to these children and their parents that they brought children back. At the point, my room was too full, too full. And I say that with praise to God. He alone is to be praised for that. So when this lady came and took me out of the room, I cried home. I got to the house. I just, my children are always my number one priority. So when I got back into the house, I made sure they were okay. I they were four then. So I went in my room and they were just playing somewhere in the house. So just in my room, asking God how I was going to take how I'm going to face this. So I cried, and around, because they walked me out of the school around 10 in the morning. So around 4 o'clock in the evening, that same day, my phone rang. I picked up the phone. Guess who? The overall head of that school in America. And if he's watching me, he can attest to this. The overall head called. And I didn't even know the person. I didn't know who it was. I said, okay, can I help you, sir? He said, I am so, 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 and so. And I said, wow, how are you, sir? He said, I'm fine. He said, hey, listen, Dorothy. He said, I just got off the phone with your director. I said, okay. He said, yes, we want you to leave because of so, so, and so, and so. He said, but she's been on my neck. She has called me like 5 times today. So I have decided that we are not going to file for you. But since you still have some kind of papers, can you go back to work and then look for how to file to get it done? Because they've gotten to the stage of the last process of getting me my work permit before this whole thing messed up. He said, can you find somebody else to do it, to finish it up, but you can come back to work? I couldn't hold myself. I screamed and screamed, and he held on to the phone, listening to me shouting, because I was just screaming and praising God. And after I said, Dorothy, are you coming? Are you there? I said, yes. I said, are you coming? Are you willing to come? I said, yes, I'm coming back. And he hung up the phone. And that man I still kept him as my mentor for a long time. I only did not talk to him maybe in the past maybe 5 years. I'm going to find his number again and communicate with him. Because even when I opened my daycare, I called him and he gave me some insights. So that's how I went back to work the very next day. The very next day after being fired, they fired me and they rehired me. And I was doing all that until, I went to Kansas because my uncle, my father's best friend, lived in Kansas.